Hey guys, it's Brian Botkiller, and today I'm just showing you a quick in-the-box look at the Cooler Master Seidon, I think that's how you say it, 240M liquid CPU cooler. This cooler supports multiple socket types, namely 2011 and 2011-3 or V3. Those are probably the two ones I would see using this the most on. But this is a 240 millimeter CPU cooler. And I've already unboxed it. I'm sorry we don't have a whole lot of unboxing goodness happening here, but I wanted to get into this and just start looking at it. It's a 240 millimeter water cooler, as you can see. And relatively low profile, which I think is pretty cool. The fans are not too big. They mounted pretty easily, and each fan is PWM. So if you are going to be using fan speed control on your motherboard, you can use the PWM. I have the 2011 brackets mounted on this right now on the cooler block, which is copper, and has, of course, the standard dual piping on it, input and output for your coolant. And on the top, it's got the Cooler Master logo. And there is a blue light, from what I understand, on this when it is operational. I don't know about that just yet because I haven't yet connected this thing up and used it. But looks like it's going to be pretty easy. The piping is pretty flexible, it feels like, which is nice. And so it feels like you'd be able to kind of tuck this into a tighter space or something along those lines. And it says in the packaging that it uses ultrafine microchannel surface area cooling, which basically means that inside of the coolant block, there's supposed to be more surface area that the coolant flows over and cools the block. We'll see what this ends up performing like. I've read some pretty good reviews. It's a fairly budget cooler. It comes in at $89 retail, and I got it for a little less than that with a rebate. As I said, I've unboxed this before, so I'm sorry this is kind of a mess. You get the giant Cooler Master instruction sheet that's like one of those maps that you never remember how to fold back properly. Which is fairly useful, but you kind of got to just figure a lot of it out yourself. A ton of parts, because again, this is for multiple CPU socket types. So you get backing plates for everything, AMD and Intel, and as far as I know, this covers pretty much every modern socket that's available right now. So you could use this on really anything that you wanted. That's really actually it for what is in the box. There's just bags and junk beyond that. So it's pretty straightforward. And setup, as I say, it's always easier to install a water cooler on a 2011 or 2011 V3 socket. It just honestly is, in my experience, because you very often do not have to install a lot of extra junk to make it work. But you can see socket 2011, 1150, 1366, 1155, 56, and 775. And then it also covers AMD, FM2, FM2 Plus, FM1, AM3 Plus, AM3, and AM2. So a ton of support for CPU sockets with this cooler. The one thing I would say you're going to need to probably watch out for is that you better have a case that this works properly with. I use a Fractal Define XL R4 case, so it's huge and it has a lot of space where I can install fans and breathers and things like that. And this will probably go on the top of my case and breathe outwards from the top. But you just make certain that you have a proper case for this, because if you don't, this is big. It's not going to install very easily. I did measure the mounting holes on my case, and 240 millimeter should match up fine with this, so I don't expect to have any problems. But it's just something that you should remember. And really, you should check if you're installing any water cooler because they are a little bit finicky. But it's a pretty cool looking cooler. It's straightforward. It's not a super fantastic, you know, $200 kit or anything like that, but it's maintenance free. The fans, I've usually been pretty happy with the quietness level on Cooler Master fans. I may do some things to silence these a little further. But generally, these fans I've found to be pretty quiet. I know some folks have said they're loud and others have said they're quiet, so it's kind of subjective when you really come right down to it. But overall, looks to be a cool cooler. And I just want to show this to you guys. I hope you found it useful. I didn't find a lot of video reviews of this, honestly, and so I thought I would just go ahead and show it off. If you've got questions or comments or anything like that, if there's anything that I have missed, please feel free to be in touch with me on my website or here on my YouTube channel or anywhere else you can find me on social media. And thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.
You read lies!